start with a shared vision, and we talked a lot about what it meant to have a perfect class, the perfect school, the perfect student, the perfect teacher. And we reviewed those concepts every single day until they had really internalized, and we added to them too. If they're like, well, last night I thought about this, Mrs. Cush, we added to it. And then we did our affinity diagram, we set it up, and they created that shared vision. And then it all really flowed from there. Like, if we're going to have a great class, and you say that means we do all of our work and we learn everything, then here are the things we need to learn. And I presented learning targets. And I'm like, if these are the things we need to learn, how are we going to get there? And I presented goal setting. And then when I said, well, how will you know when you get there? And I presented the rubric. And then how will you keep track of your learning? And I presented portfolios and capacity matrices. And all of these things really started to just work together because the students had first internalized that shared vision and the fact that they really did want to learn everything. And they really did want to do all of their work. And they needed to know then what was the work, how do I know when I get there, and how do I maintain this work to show that I've really mastered this learning target. So it really worked together, and it's very powerful. Putting every piece in place has made the classroom just very dynamic and powerful.
I pre-assess way more than I ever have in the past, and which then leads to planning that's way more individualized. I think I was okay at having small groups, but now I realize it's not always a small group. It's it's a one-on-one, or it's a group of two, or it's these kids actually don't need my attention as much as I thought I did, and I need to focus here. But my planning has become way more individualized. And we do NWA goal setting, so I gave out their sheets of what their score was, and we talked about what a year's growth typically is, and they all predicted what their score would be, and then they took a paper and wrote down their actual score and calculated their growth. But I said, the NWA is coming, and you guys have so much to prove, and they were kind of getting excited. So this was maybe on Tuesday, and on Thursday, I said, all right, guys, we got scheduled. Today's our day. And the room erupted in cheers. And my student teacher said, I have never seen this. Your kids are fired up about going to take a test. Fired up, like cheering, out of control. And I said, it's really exciting. And then the scores actually, went along with that too. But she was floored by the fact that they were so pumped to show what they learned. That it's ongoing, and that it's not at 3 checkpoints in the middle of the year. My kids know that everything that they've been keeping track of in this binder, and all the progress monitoring they've been doing, and all the skills they've been tracking and proficiency they've been tracking, sure, lends itself to kind of revealing itself on these major tests, but they realize that if they've been in chunks, been showing proficiency on these different skills along the way, and they have chances to show me that at any point. They can show me that during the day, before school, after school, that it's not, you don't have this one opportunity to show proficiency, that it's ongoing. I think it just increases their confidence, which then, going into a bigger high-stakes test is effective because it's common practice.
I was just saying that we get more done throughout the day, throughout the year, because the kids know where they're at, instead of being really difficult and figuring out, like, I have to teach this lesson instead of teaching the middle, you're teaching individually to the low, you're teaching to the high, I shouldn't say low, I guess, to the high group, or the people that need help. So for one example, in Unit 4 math, thinking that it was going to take me 3 or 4 weeks because I was already behind, and I say I because I was still in teacher mode, we did the capacity matrix and found out that most of the kids thought they were proficient. Tested them or assessed them on the proficiency, found out that was true, and I think we did that unit in like 5 days.
Well, meeting each child at their individual level is really what the standards-based system is all about, and getting them to the point where it's no longer, for instance, an assessment at the end of a unit that says you are or you are not ready to move on, and even if you are not ready to move on, it's time to move on, because that's, in essence, that's what the time system is you will move on, or maybe I can give you some help after school, but either way, you're still going to be expected to move on. And it's really hard to expect a child to move on with skills when they don't even have the foundation before to get there. So the great part about the system is that you're giving them the chance to learn all of those basic skills before you're asking them to move on. And they understand that.
We're going to use our capacity matrix on our board, okay? Now, did we all do this together?
Yeah.
Think about that. When you come up here to move your magnet, I want you to think about where you should be, all right? Tomorrow, when we finish with this, I will have you flip over your paper and you will fill out your capacity matrix on your paper. But today, we're not finished, so I don't want to fill this out yet. I'm going to have you come up here and I'm going to have you move your magnet where you think we are. We'll use our capacity matrix, but don't move until I call your name, please. Thank you. Andrew, and then when you're done, hand me your paper. Andrew, go ahead and move your magnet. Cesar, go ahead and move your magnet. Thank you, Andrew. Go ahead and line up.
Why are we going to recess?
Recess. Genevieve, go ahead and move your magnet. Ramon, go ahead and move your magnets, please.
I'm already on.
Giovanni and Madeline. Thank you. Thank you.
Here.
Patricia, go ahead and move your magnet. Thank you.
I'm already. One means you need a lot of help.
What's a 2 mean?
A little help?
What's a 3 mean?
You know it.
What's a 4 mean?
You could teach it to everybody.
Okay.
Well, I've always tried to be a rigorous teacher. I never want to lower expectations. That's always been my goal because I believe the students can do it. So one way that I feel the rigor, it hasn't changed. I've always been very rigorous, but to have the students meet that rigor is a completely different thing. And in a traditional classroom, I wasn't able to do that as well as I am now. So for example, in the past, if a student didn't pass, if they didn't meet proficiency on something, we let it go. That was it. We're moving on. Well, that doesn't teach a student how to learn, how to improve their learning, how to meet their goals. So the first thing I do is we evaluate our assessments and we look at how we could have grown, what we need to do to improve, what we still need to study, and we document all this. The student documents this. They come up to me and tell me what they need to continue to study, and then when they're ready to take the exam, they come in to retake the exam. And so then I can track every single question, how many times, so say asteroids, the first time they answered it wrong. The next time, partially proficient, they're getting it. I might put a little clue on there to guide the student, and then the next time they come in with a completely correct answer. So it may take, you don't just do an assignment and fail. You improve over time, and that's how my class is more rigorous, because that's how the work is better quality. Because of the multiple opportunities and ways to reach proficiency, many more kids are. So, for example, one student's really good at taking an exam, and they can show me they met those standards by taking an exam. Other kids like to show me they met their standards by doing a project, and other kids like to sit down with me and orally explain it. Because there's multiple ways for assessment, my students find more engagement, so I have more students meeting the standards.
What are the 2 things you need to learn under water cycle so I can say that you're proficient? Arturo.
Define all 6 steps of the water cycle.
Define all 6 steps of the water cycle. Who wants to read the next one? Allie.
Compare and contrast 6 steps of the water cycle.
Okay, right now, could you tell me right now all 6 steps of the water cycle, and could you compare and contrast? Then take a look at this here. This is my understanding of the water cycle. Look at period, this is period 2, this is 3, this will be you guys in period 4. Yeah, 100% is I know all 6 steps. You feel advanced, you feel like you could teach it and explain it to the class. 80%, you know all 6 steps and you can demonstrate it, but you don't really feel comfortable teaching it. And then partially proficiency is like 100% knowledge, 0% knowledge. Do you see that? 70% is like partially proficient. I know some steps, but might need help, and that might be all through this area. And then down here is 0 to like 10 to 20 is I need to learn the water cycle. Like you feel like you don't know it at all. So what I want you to do is come get a yellow dot. Please don't move. Thank you. Put your initials on it and mark where you are now at the beginning of class, and then we'll vote to see what color we're going to use at the end of the class. The end of the class.
Le voy a poner un cáncer.
How does self-assessment help you?
Well, it helps you. It helps us because we could see what we think. We could write down what we think our work is, like the quality of our work.
All right. So show me.
See, this is our rating. What we think we got on, like right here, like ideas and content. We put our rating, what we think it is, and then all these, and then these ratings are people in the classroom, and they put down what they think you got, and then on your final rating, that's what the teacher thinks you got.
So it looks like you and your classmates and your teacher have different ideas.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about that too?
Well, I'll try to put some more effort in my work so I could get proficient on most of them.
So what do you need to do in ideas and content to make that a 3?
I gotta use more resources, like the Writing Source 2000. Like, we got all these resources.
I give myself a 2.5 because I didn't have everything I needed to get a 3. The words I chose weren't really descriptive and colorful to create an image.
Well, we choose our own quiz date. We have the quiz, and then each of us just studies at their own pace, and then everybody's ready by the date that we said we were going to do the assessment.